What's good, YouTube? J7 Skills back in the building with another video. And I've got another reaction video for you lot, but this time I am joined by Mrs. Sophie herself. We're going to be reacting to 15 survival stories. So it's people that have survived some crazy stories. The guy that posted this video is called Dolan. There is going to be a picture right now up, and the link to his channel is in the description. So if you lot do enjoy this video as well, go and check him out because he uploads so many videos like this on his channel. He's an amazing guy. So yeah, go and check him out and let him know J7 Skills sent you. If you lot do enjoy this video though, make sure to hit that big thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications as well so you get alerted in my future videos. Also check out my social media. Link to my link to ya is in the description. And without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Till I'm wildin' out, yeah. You can hold me down, you can hold me down. Just for a while, just for a while. Faking a smile, I'm faking a smile.
Okay, so the video is now ready. Sophie's ready. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's start up. Danger Dolan. Big up.
From getting lost in the desert to the sole survivor of a terrifying plane crash, we count 15 times people evaded deaths in the harshest circumstances known to man. Number 15. Chris Stewart. This is a story from Barham, Hants, with a 12-year-old who was racing around in his 1000cc Mini when it hit a barrier at 40 miles per hour. In what is referred to as an internal decapitation, Chris's skull was severed from his spine, and he was given a measly 10% chance of survival, with doctors claiming he should have died instantly. But amazingly,
10% chance of survival.
That's so bad.
He got 10%.
2006, they reattached his skull using metal plates and bone grafts, and within a few years, he was off racing again. Number 14.
Whoa!
Stephen Callahan. It was in January 1982 that Stephen set sail on his small sailboat from the Canary Islands bound for the Caribbean, but not even 1 week later, his ship sank in a storm and he was left adrift on an inflatable rubber raft.
We saw this.
76 in
We watched this, boys. I think there was an actual documentary of it as well.
I think it's
And it's like an actor that like sort of played it out. And it was the best thing I've watched, where he got put in an inflatable. But I'm not going to spoil it. We're going to play it. But we have seen this already. It's crazy.
5 days, he drifted with nothing but a shirt, 3 pounds of food, some gear and water. Eventually, he washed up on the Bahamas. He then wrote an autobiography of the whole ordeal, so impressive that Ang Lee, the director of Life of Pi, asked Stephen to become a film consultant on living aboard a life raft. Number 13.
There you go.
Bethany Hamilton. An early morning in November 2003 when Bethany went...
Before it carries on, what do you think? I'm going to say shark attack.
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
Spitting her arm off or something.
Yeah, because do you know what's giving it?
Bite as well.
Yeah, that's what's
On the
giving it
surface.
away for me. That's literally what's giving it away for me.
surfing in Hawaii.
Get a bit more in.
She was out with her best friend Alana and their family when a tiger shark around 4 meters in length rose out of the water and tore Bethany's left arm clean off the shoulder. Instead of panicking or crying, this 13-year-old girl swam back to shore with her one good arm, even warning other swimmers nearby to get out of the water.
She was 13.
And she swam back with just one arm.
Imagine the pain she was in as well. She must have been in so much pain.
Pretty much the toughest girl of all time. Number
Literally.
12. Joe Simpson. If you've ever seen the documentary Touching the Void, then you'll already know this guy's story, but for those who don't, Joe was being lowered down a crevasse because of a broken leg when he disappeared from view, so his friend Simon Yates was forced to cut the rope, sending Joe to what seemed like certain death. Instead, it turned into a 3-day fight for survival in a frozen tundra, slowly moving through the snow on a broken leg, half frozen until his return. If you haven't seen the documentary, I
So
highly
why
recommend
did his friend cut it? Because he went out of view. He cut the rope.
Yeah, because he couldn't find him.
Oh.
And they're Touching the Void. Very powerful stuff. Number 11. Mark and Phil. Another ice story. This one's set in 1982 on the high slopes of New Zealand's tallest mountain, Arawaki Mount Cook. The two
I've heard
men,
of
Mark
this mountain
Inglis
as
and
well.
Phil Dool, built an ice cave to escape the blizzard, waiting for it to pass, but unluckily it kept up for 13 days, and all they had were meager rations with no prospect of warmth. Unfortunately, the circulation was cut off in their legs and they had to be amputated, which is something you should never have to go through at 23 years of age.
He was 23 and he had to get his legs amputated.
Crazily enough, they still climb to this day, with Inglis becoming the first double amputee
That's
to
crazy.
conquer Everest, losing fingers and flesh in the process. Number 10.
Wow, what a
Julian
madman.
Mcgee, 1971. 93 passengers aboard Lancer Flight 508 when lightning struck the plane over the Peruvian rainforest and it came crashing down. Julianne was blown out of the plane early and landed 2 miles down the wreckage in a dense thicket, where she only came out with blindness in one eye, a broken collarbone, along with cuts and bruises. She walked down the jungle following the water.
To be honest, if there was a plane to fall, right, I think I would take being paralyzed, put on a wheelchair, broken neck, being blind, all of that, other than being dead. At least you're still alive. So you've got, because the way I look at it, you've got like this crazy story that you can tell people. People be like, oh my god, that's so bad. But then you can go, but I survived it. So then you're always going to get that praise of being a warrior, basically, and surviving this. That's what I think, anyways.
Extreme until she found a cabin where she waited for the owner to come back. Then she got back to civilization and continued her studies to become a zoologist. Number 9.
She still went on to become a zoologist.
A formerly Soviet researcher at the Institute for High Energy Physics, working on the largest particle accelerator at the time, the synchrotron U-70. It was in 1978 that a malfunction forced Bukowski to lean over a piece of equipment and look inside the proton beam chamber, but failed safety mechanisms did not turn off the beam, and it went straight through his skull at a speed faster than light. He claims he saw a flash brighter than 1,000 suns, with no pain, but his face swelled up and skin began to peel off. Thankfully he survived without losing any intelligence, but he does get fatigued easily, and he can't hear out of his left ear, and he does have
To be honest, that's the least though.
Number 8. Alcides Moreno, a window cleaner who, in 2007, fell 47 stories when their cable snapped alongside his brother Edgar, who tragically fell to his death. Alcides, on the other hand, was left in a coma with considerable damage to his body, but soon afterwards he awoke and made a full recovery, even walking despite damage to his spinal cord.
He fell from the top
to the bottom
and survived. Whoa. Whoa. That's
One
mad.
of the doctors quote, "If you're a
47
believer in
stories.
miracles, this would be one. I've seen it all, or at least I think I have, until something like this happens." Number 7. Ricky Mcgee, April 2006, a man who showed up as a skeletal figure near a cattle station in a remote area of Australia. He claims the last thing he remembered was getting his car stolen, and that he was drugged by a hitchhiker. Then he awoke to find dingoes scratching at him. He then lived 71 days off a diet of leeches, frogs, snakes, and insects, with water from a nearby dam and a makeshift shelter.
Wow.
By the time he showed up again, he had lost over half his body weight, coming in at 48 kilos.
48 kilos.
Aaron Ralston, May 2003.
See, that's what annoys me. There is some crazy people in this world, man. Sick people that just drugged him and left him for dead, literally. They completely left him with nothing. And he was like in a place where there was snakes, everything. And yeah, man. No one deserves to get put through that.
Falls on Aaron's arm and traps it inside a canyon wall. If this story sounds familiar, it's because we saw it in the film 120 Hours.
Yes, this was the one I was telling you the other day that I saw on YouTube. That the guy got a rock stuck underneath his arm. But anyway, I'll let it explain. But there is a film on this on Netflix as well, which he has just said. I think it's called 100 and something.
101 days.
No, it's nothing to do with days. He went down there for 100 days. I'll rewind it, boys. I'll rewind it.
Pound boulder falls on Aaron's arm and traps it inside a canyon wall. If this story sounds familiar, it's because we saw it in the film 127 Hours, in which he spends 5 days trapped in a Utah canyon with little food or water. He went on to write a book about how he used a boulder to snap his own arm, then cut off the flesh with a pocket knife until he could wander off and get
Look
rescued
at
by
that
some
rock.
hikers passing
That's
by.
crazy.
Number 5.
The Rock. What happened, boys? That guy, he was climbing basically, and he kind of slipped, and this big rock has slipped down, and it's like trapped his arm with the wall, and obviously it's a big ass rock, so you can't just wedge it out of the way. And he was there for like 5 days waiting to see if someone would walk by and see him, or maybe he could shout out to someone, but obviously he couldn't, so he just snapped his arm off, and then he cut it off as well. But obviously, because he had a pocket knife, he had to sort of break the bone and then cut the flesh, because the pocket knife will never cut through a bone. But that's what he done. You gotta have some balls to do that, man. He was getting to a point where he was accepting death though, but then obviously, I think what happened, he shut his eyes and he said he had a dream of him with his wife and with a baby, and he had no arm, he had his arm behind his back, so basically that was sort of a hint that God was telling him, cut off your arm, you'll survive, and then go and start a life, and he did, started a life.
Wenceslao Moguel, a man in 1915 captured during the Mexican Revolution, sentenced to death by a firing squad. They filled him with 8 bullets and then one more straight through his head, but he survived, feigning death until the shooters left. He's gone on to be interviewed by Ripley from...
And do you know what's even crazier? Look at his face. But do you know what's even crazier? That's a death penalty, so obviously it's like he got arrested and he got sentenced to death.
And he didn't die.
He didn't die. What the hell?
Ripley's Believe It or
Look at
Not,
his face,
the
boys.
story of the man who survived a barrage of bullets, which sadly left him a little disfigured. Number 4. Truman Duncan, a railroad switchman who endured a horrifying ordeal to have his body sliced clean in half by a train. It was 2006 when Truman fell off a moving train in Claiborne and it sliced him in two, but he managed to stay conscious, calling both 911 and his family to inform them what had happened. After a 3-week coma and 23 surgeries, he came out confined to a wheelchair but very much alive. Surgeons claiming it was an absolute miracle and
He still
should
goes
not
near
have
trains.
survived. Number 3.
I wouldn't.
Tommy Oldman
Neither would I.
Ashcraft, 1983. Tammy and her boyfriend Richard Sharp were sailing the South Pacific when a Category 4 hurricane blew up 19 days into a 30-day crossing. The ship capsized and Tammy, still in the lower decks, was knocked unconscious. 27 hours later, she awoke to find Richard gone, no safety line or mainmast. Fighting down the desire to give up, she sailed for 40 days en route to what she thought was Hawaii, ending up in Hilo Harbor, in shock but thankful to be alive. Number 2. Paul
Whoa.
Templar, 1990s. Paul was working as a river guide with a tribe of native Zimbabwe when he received a surprise attack from one of Africa's most dangerous animals, the bull hippo. While trying to save a colleague, the hippo swallowed Paul's head, and then he got mauled with rips in his foot, a severed arm, broken ribs, and holes in his chest cavity. He then endured a 7-hour operation for his recovery and went on leading safari trips and public speaking for charities. Number 1.
Whoa,
Mauro
man.
Prosperi, the 1994 Marathon of the Sands in Morocco. Mauro was performing the 6-day run when a sandstorm caused him to lose his way. He ended up forgetting which way he was supposed to run, and so he ended up far, far away from the track. Within 36 hours, he'd run out of food and water, so he resorted to drinking urine and eating bats and snakes. He tried to commit suicide by slitting his own wrists, but dehydration caused his blood to thicken, clotting each wound. 9 days later, he was found by some nomads and taken to the Algerian hospital. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one!
Wow. Wow. Well, big up Danger Dolan, because that video was amazing, boys. And if you lot do enjoy videos like that, make sure you go and check him out. The link to his YouTube will be in the description. But wow. Wow, what a video. But that is it, boys. If you lot did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that big thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications as well so you get alerted in my future videos. It's been your boy J7 Skills. I love you all and I'm out. Peace.
For the night get sunny, yeah. You ain't doing nothing funny, nah. Bitch, I'm in love with the money. Move from me. For the night get sunny, bitch, I'm in love with the money. Bitch, sit down like honey. Bitch, you looking so bummy, dummy. Now let's switch it up. cause I'll be counting.